Okay guys, we're back. This week we're going to be playing some Xerath. I've been practicing him a little bit recently and have slowly been working him into my roster of ranked champions. Xerath excels at long-range siege and poke battles, but also has some reasonably good tools to deal with people up close and personal. In terms of this game, I am running Flash and Ghost. Now, pretty much all of my summoner and item choices are heavily influenced by a guide written by Bishu. It's possible that these are not the absolute best setups, but they work with my playstyle, and I quite strongly agree with the decision behind them. So first of all, while we're waiting for this early game setup, how we're going to handle the level 1, let's go over the summoner skill choice, because I get asked about the whole Flash Ghost thing quite often. First of all, what is Xerath's weakness? Well, obviously, he lacks mobility, right? You don't have a hard escape. If you get caught, you're pretty much dead. Therefore, having the Ghost and the Flash gives you more options for mobility, whether it's to run away from fights, reposition in fights, or get to fights to help clean them up or support your team. So it works quite well, and with I believe it's the distortion enchants on boots, it gives you more effectiveness from your Ghost. It actually gives you a very large move speed boost, as well as giving you extra move speed after your Flash. And that's on top of the 20%, I believe it is, reduction to the cooldown on those skills by having the enchant. So it gives you much, much better safety and mobility. So I really quite like that setup, and it's what I've been sort of rolling with. In terms of runes and masteries, I'm running 2109, and then for runes, I'm running Magic Pen Reds, AP per level Yellows, AP per level and cooldown per level Blues. Only enough Blues to give me 10% extra CDR to help sort of balance things out a little bit. And then, of course, AP Quints. It's a very, very glass cannon page, and it's definitely not going to be useful versus a lot of people who are going to be running straight at your face. Now, this game might not be the absolute best representation of laning phase, simply because Veigar does take a little while to get to lane. I don't know what it's been, but the last few days, there's been a lot of people having issues connecting. I don't know if it's Riot or if it's the random DDoS attacks or what it is. So at this point, I'm just working on getting used to Xerath's last hit animation. It does have a bit of a wind-up, and I'm not the best with it yet. Again, this is me learning the champion. Back towards my runes and masteries, I'm attempting to focus on his strengths with my runes and mastery choices, and then with my summoner skills, I'm covering his weaknesses. And I really like that with most champions, you have to cover both, right? Play towards your strengths while minimizing your weaknesses. In terms of builds, I've been preferring to go double Dorans into a Morello Nomicon, simply because Morello is a cheaper option rather than Athene's. It gives you a little bit less mana regen, but you have your passive. It gives you that 20% CDR, it gives you some AP, and just generally it gives you a lot for the money. Now, I want to point out what I was just doing there versus Veigar. He did finally come to lane, but because he put himself in between the tower and the wall of jungle, it lines up my skills for me. So that's actually a really poor position on his part to try and take. Now, that being said, he is going to be able to potion back up and should be able to catch up a little in this lane. Now, in terms of matchups, Veigar is annoying because if you ever come in range, well, this is sort of how things are going to go. I decided not to flash auto there, and I suppose I could have gone in with W, but honestly, with him already having DC'd, I'm ahead in experience. I would rather just sort of farm. Now, a lot of people won't agree with that decision, but I prefer to play a very passive mid lane. I want to farm, I want to outscale my opponent, and try and be useful that way, rather than just being like boom, boom, kills. Now, I actually did play with this jungler in the game before, I believe it was, and he's a little bit of a whiner. I believe I do mute him at some point, not because he's raging or because he's a terrible player by any means. It's simply, I don't want him influencing my gameplay through his chat. And that's a big distinction to make, and it's very important in solo queue that you don't let others influence how you are playing negatively. Focus on what you're doing here. I may have been a little bit negative in how I was saying that. Veigar tries to stop me. It's like, dude, you're level 2. You're not really going to be able to do anything versus me. Anyways, that's about as salty as I will get in chat, I hope. I I don't know, I think I should just sort of leave it at that. Back towards my itemization, once I have my Morellonomicon double Dorans, that gives me more than enough mana for the entire laning phase. At that point, I can go towards my Source Boots with the upgrade. See, there I'm using the Recall to bait him in, get a good combo on top of him, and take about half of his health down. Obviously, relatively low on mana, but it doesn't matter because I have my passive to get back into this lane. And, well, it's not like I really took any damage there. Yeah, if he hadn't stopped my recall, I get to buy. If he tries to stop the recall, well then I get free damage on him. It's sort of a win-win in that situation. In the matchup, anytime Veigar lands a stun, he's going to be able to chunk about half to 3/4 of your health in the mid game. And of course, late game, he's going to one-shot you pretty much every time. So I am going to die a number of times this game. And that's just sort of, to me, that's sort of just how the lane is going to go. I don't have a whole lot of ways around that. I could have tried, okay, I'm going to build a Banshee's Veil, or I could build this, that, or the other thing. To me, though, that means that I'm in the wrong position. If I'm getting focused down by him, I would rather work on my positioning rather than giving up my incredibly strong strengths in terms of poke, siege, zone potential, rather than build a little bit more safe. Now, to each their own, you're welcome to try a different playstyle. This is just the one that generally works better for me, and it's what I enjoy doing. So in this game, it's a little bit of a slow start. Everyone's still 0-0-0. I should start trying to push an advantage soon. I am now level 6. Once you've hit level 6, you at least have some kill potential with your team. It is worth keeping in mind, though, that on Xerath, your ult is really only useful if they're CC'd. If anyone has moderately good reaction time and does not have crazy high ping, they're going to be able to dodge your ult. There's just no way around that, right? Just the travel time on it and the time at which the indicator shows on the ground, if they watch the ground and they right click with a good reaction speed, then they're going to dodge it. Blaming Xeraths for missing ults is kind of silly because at that point it's really not on them. So you generally want to combine it with your allies. If you have a point and click CC on your team, that works really, really well with Xerath, especially AoE ultimates like Wukong ultimate, a Mumu ultimate, an Annie, not that Annie support's that good anymore, but an Annie Tibber stun, something like that, is going to set up Xerath immensely well. In terms of combos, you can launch your W, and then while it's casting, you do a quick charge tap on your Q, and they'll detonate at the exact same time. You can do a similar thing with W, E, and then Q across as they're stunned. Or if you get a long range E, if you see that it's going to land, you can actually activate your ult and land at least 2 charges of the ult before the stun wears off. Again, those are not necessarily the easiest combos to land, but it's some ways that you can sort of overlap damage on top of each other and deal a surprising amount of burst rather than just sort of your sustained poke. Now I am giving over blue here, and as you can see, I'm pretty much just farming out the lane, not doing a whole lot. Things should start to pick up as we go through the game, though. So I'm trying to get sort of the nitty-gritty stuff out of the way, and then we'll be able to comment on the more interesting side of gameplay in a little bit. So now that I have blue buff, I always want to keep using my passive. As you can see on the screen, it's just coming off cooldown right now. So if I can get an auto attack, there's that combo. There's the E, W, Q. Even if the stun had worn off, the slow from the W would keep him in range that I can land the Q relatively easily. Takes about 3/4, 2/3, somewhere in there of his health. And yeah, pretty much pushes him out of lane. So at this point, I want to see if we can, well, obviously we are going to get Dragon, but I want to provide a little bit of security for this. My mid opponent has gone back, so I don't really have anywhere else that I need to be on the map right now. I'm going to go make sure that we secure this Dragon, and I could even roam down bot lane here. As you can see, I am pinging it. We see that the ward is placed. I'm seeing if Caitlyn can sort of bait them in here at all. I get the Q onto Vayne. Immediately we get that kill. I land my stun right across Janna, and they end up getting the kills. I'm not exactly sure what I did with my ult there. It really annoyed me in the game too, where I couldn't seem to cast it. It's possible I moved and canceled it out. Either way, we got the kills. Who cares? 2 assists for me. So I'm just going to see what I go for my initial build. I think I had to deal with something in chat. This was a very, very busy day on the stream, so slightly distracted. I should be back in like 2 seconds, and we'll continue off where we are. There we go. Oh, right. I decided to try a really offensive build here. I do not like this decision. I do not like this build. I have been playing some Lux, and this is the build I've been trying to do with Lux. If I get an early advantage, I go for crazy early AP, and then just try and farm things out by being able to one-shot the wave with well, on Lux's case, her E. On Xerath, I don't think this is a good choice. As you can see, I am almost one-shotting the back wave. Once I level up my Q, I should be. But honestly, I think I would have been better off just building the Morellonomicon. Get Morellonomicon, get Source Boots with Distortion Enchant, be much more safe. As you can see though, I am chonking him out. So with him going in between the turret there, I can try and snipe him. He tries to walk back and forth, but he's still pushing himself up against the wall, which limits the ways that he can dodge, and that allows me to land 2 of my 3 alt charges. I would like to take credit for that, but a lot of it just boiled down to he didn't react very well. His positioning was a little bit off. I also did call Summoner skills so that my team knows about that cooldown being used. I am here. I don't know if I get this or not. I think I lend the stun, which actually works really nicely, but unfortunately no one was able to push in time, so we're not really going to get this. Now note, we do not have Veigar mid. I don't recall if he has gone back or if he's roaming at the moment, but Jarvan should be able to pick up that farm mid. We shouldn't miss anything from that. Because we shoved them out, we pushed in that bot turret, and now we're going to try and push in inner bot turret. Again, Jarvan, all he needs to do is pick up that farm mid. I believe he does so this game, and like we can do this trade all day long. We got 3 people down here, we have the lane pressure, and we have the poke pressure. Like there's nothing stopping us. Now, we see Warwick does try and come in. Good damage going across onto Vayne there. Not even enough time for the Shen ult. So we just overlaid everything there. I landed my stun right as the Blitz hook landed. Then W plus Q combining on top of each other. Boom, that is a dead Janna. And now that she's dead, I can zone out Vayne. There's the flash hook, and I finish it off with my W. E is not even needed, she's already dead. As you can see, Warwick and Veigar are pushing mid. Jarvan's there making sure that they can't take too much, but who cares? We just got inner tower. They finally got our outer mid. Okay, well, we're on their inhib. So as you can see, they are breaking off mid. So we need to respond to that, and we need to not get collapsed on by them, because that's a lot of hard CC that could be roaming in behind us. That being said, though, as we can see, Veigar is recalling in vision of our team. If I were him, I would not do that. Walk into the jungle, and it forces us to play scared. And then at that point, we don't need to worry. Oh, I think I'm chatting again. I apologize. But yeah, just where he recalled provided a lot less map pressure. He could have played that just tiny bit better by walking out of our vision, and assuming we were paying attention, it would have forced us into a more defensive state. Now, as you can see, I was forced to... Well, I wasn't forced to. I opted to go Death Cap first, and as a result, I'm going to have some mana issues. So I really need this blue buff. Assuming you are having blue buff control and you're not having to constantly spam skills, then you don't have to worry too much about early mana regen. That's why I've been focusing on not rushing Athenes on my Lux builds recently, and it's so situational, right? It's not one of those things where you're going to do it every game. I'm simply testing it out this match, and I believe it works relatively well. The second thing to keep in mind, though, is that, well, Veigar scales off of AP. I have 0 magic resist, and I'm building full AP. So because of me being so far ahead, it's allowing him to one-shot me. And I believe quite soon you're going to notice that, where all of a sudden I'm just going to die. Alright, so trying to see if we can set something up with Blitz here. I actually do walk too close. Warwick ults across me, I flash forward. E backwards, but Veigar is able to flash and then ult, and as you see, pretty much just kills me right there. Boom, done. Jarvan is able to pick up the kill onto Veigar, but Blitz has already died. At that point, you're locked in there with a Warwick, and Warwick duels very well. Warwick is not a burst dueler by any means, but the sustain he gets in a 1v1 fight is sickening. So as you can see, he does end up picking up the kill onto J4. You really don't want to find yourself in that position. If you're in any way on equal terms in terms of numbers, items, levels, don't fight a Warwick 1v1. It's just not going to work out that well. So I finish up my, I believe it's Forbidden Idol, I want to call it. Get that little bit of mana regen, get the 10% CDR, and rush right back out to lane. Now, I would also like to point out, still don't have my distortion upgrade. It's incredibly, incredibly useful. Alright, so we see a lot of people grouping around Dragon here. Seeing as I am just watching the replay, I'm not 100% confident on the time that it's respawning. But, no, you're okay, we're just going back over to mid. I'm content to just take the farm personally. And there we have yet again, flash ult from Warwick, and that is immediate kill over to them. So at this point, we're just a little bit spread across the map. I might have been a little bit annoyed this day. I apologize if my chat comments are a little bit off color. But again, we need to group and end. We have everything we need, and we can just sort of push up mid. Allowing them to pick off a target with the Warwick Vigar comp is just silly. You can't allow that. Alright, so I am able to get a reasonably good ult right across them, so a huge amount of damage in place. We should be able to chase them down, and even if we don't get kills, this allows us to then apply pressure across the map once again. Blitz got his move speed buff in there. I'm trying to come around from the side. I see that we're not going to catch it. The stun's already down, so I just ward up and take some farm for myself. Now, there's a lot of CS up top lane. Looks like Lulu's going for that. For some reason, they try and recall inside tower range there. So, our team chases and dies. Oh. I tried to make a guess on where they were so I could queue them there. But again, we don't need to take risks. We had the advantage. All we needed to do was push and end. Now, there's a lot of, I don't want to say throws, but let's face it, they're throws in this game. And that's why we're using it as an example. It is not a stomp on one side or the other. It's mistakes that both teams are making, myself included. And I'd like to point out some of those mistakes and how they can be countered. So, they pushed in and they overstayed. That was their mistake. We were then able to collapse on and push them out, that's very, very good for us. We did a good job. But then we chased versus a heavy CC comp and tried to turret dive them. That's our mistake, and obviously we're the ones who came out far, far worse off because of it. So we need to avoid doing that in the future. As you can see, I'm just sort of staying mid, picking up whatever CS I can here, and applying pressure onto this tower. Now that pressure has been applied, I need to back out and make sure that we have enough vision to do this safely, because I cannot afford to get caught. As you saw earlier, flash ult from Warwick, boom, I'm dead. Any skills from Vigar, boom, I'm dead. I cannot allow that to happen. I tried to guess with those last ult charges there. I didn't have enough vision to really do much. I do manage to clip some people with my Qs though, so that sort of pushes them out a bit, and make sure that we do get that tower for free. Now that we have the tower though, there's no reason to stay. My ult's down, my flash is not quite up. It's up in like 5 seconds. So we need to sort of get wards into the jungle, make sure it's clear. At this point the red has respawned, so we need to steal that away. And, well, there we go. Free kills over to us because they checked without vision. As you see, Shen is using his ult there. Vigar's in that bush. We know that he's there. So we need the team to cycle around. Okay, so we didn't cycle around very quickly, and that then puts Vayne free to try and engage. Very nice grab. Unfortunately, I messed up my E. Just a little bit of mistiming and miscommunication from the team here. Myself included, obviously. I have no mana because I don't have a blue buff. So at this point, we need to be running. Like, we do not want this fight. All right, so there's the slow coming out from Janna. Warwick is coming in. He's going to be able to stun us very soon. There's the Vygar stun. Boom, we are dead. So there's 3 mistakes there. Number 1, we pulled off a very good fight in the jungle, but we didn't immediately, as 5, group onto their inhib. The second mistake is that we then tried to siege after they had time to group without resources. I did not have blue buff. We were down a couple ultimates, I believe. We were down some summoner skills. We were just missing a lot of our tools in order to fight. Our third mistake is that once we saw the fight was not going in our favor, we did not group proper. Like we didn't retreat properly as 5. We just sort of got caught out, got stragglers, and then they were able to just sort of wipe through us. Now, Caitlyn is able to get a kill up top, so that's awesome. I'm just going to go over towards my blue buff. I do have my Morellonomicon now. That's a huge purchase for me, and it's why I should have bought it first. I need that CDR if I'm going to spend my skills. I need the mana regen. I need... like, everything about it is just very, very good on Xerath. As a bonus, the healing reduction on it keeps them low enough that you'll then be able to finish them off with your alt charges. You land 1 alt charge. If they're low, okay, well, they have the healing debuff, Summoner heal, Nidalee heal, Kale heal, so like any targeted heals that could go down on them are not then going to save them from the second or third charges as easily. Yeah, I was sort of trying to defend my build here. It was not a good build. I completely admit that. At this point, we do have vision on Warwick. I should not have stayed there. I paid the price. I flashed out. Again, we do not want this fight. Oh, why I went back in, I have no idea. I cannot explain that. I got caught, I flashed backwards, and then I re-engaged. Again, same problem that we've had all game long. Now, we are going to be able to pull this through, I believe. We have every chance of winning this. A lot of people in this situation are going to take a look at this game and they're going to go, oh god, you guys are throwing, you're so bad, and just sort of surrender, right? As you saw, the team was trying to surrender. This Vygar is fed. He's super, super fed. Because, well, we're all relatively squishy. No one has built the least bit tanky on our team, and they have heavy, heavy CC. So as soon as someone CC'd, Vygar gets a kill. Every time. Boom, Vygar gets a kill. So, yeah, we need to be dealing with that by grouping properly. We need to be rotating properly between lanes so that we're not having to deal with them on a 5v5 situation. But more importantly, we need to ward, know where they're at, and counter that. And that's really, really what I want to see here. Now, as you can see, they are over towards Baron. They're super low, right? So they're not going to be able to pick it up. I pushed out bot and then was able to try and rotate up. That being said, they may have been able to get Baron in that. The reason I didn't go directly to Baron is because I do not want to 5v5 them, right? I would rather the enemy team get Baron and me be a little bit closer to being more useful, right? Get an item, get something. I also did buy a number of wards here because I need vision. If I get caught, I'm dead. That's what we've proven time and time again here. I am constantly dying. All right, we pick up Dragon for ourselves. We actually had reasonably good Dragon control this game, so that global gold is definitely keeping us in here. We have some pretty good farm. Reasonably good anyways, and we have some good dragons. So the number of kills that we're down, which currently only 6, right? We're not down that many towers. We're about equal. And we're up in CS, we're up in dragons, we're slightly down in kills. So we're actually not that bad. So as Caitlyn mentioned, we do need Banshee's Veils. I would say that I would not like to get a Banshee's Veil outside of like a 6th item on Xerath, but it is definitely a good option. I would instead prefer to go Hourglass and try and time things properly. I do get an Hourglass, and spoiler alert, I mistime it every time this game, but it doesn't make it a bad purchase. It just means, hey, I messed up. Yeah, I mentioned that a QSS may be better, because if you're being chain CC'd, the Banshee's Veil is only going to block one skill, right? You can't control which skill it blocks. Whereas QSS on Caitlyn, she's going to be able to get Scimitar, so she's going to deal more damage as a result. And she's also going to have... Okay, so they actually grab a Janna. Not generally something you want to do. Caitlyn ult is then used as well. Lulu is able to ult onto herself, so that's wonderful. There we go. So, because of how he was positioned, Warwick jumped into the middle of our team, and we were able to clean up on that. That being said, though, we've now blown so much. Vayne jumps in. I'm able to pick it up thanks to the lovely, lovely hooks, and we're able to clean up as a result. But if we were not able to get those hooks, if we did not have that much AoE, if we were not able to CC them the second they were in range, that would have gone very, very poorly. In the most generic circumstances I would have liked to have seen there is that, okay, Warwick jumped in the middle of us with his ult to try and get the Shen on top of us. Insta-burst him and back out. Don't try and re-engage, don't try and fight. Wait for your cooldowns to come up. Even if it's like a 5-second reposition just to make sure you have stuff ready and the enemy team is running towards you, funneling in through there, that's worth it, right? It's essentially what we did. We just did it too early. We did not time it properly. Now, I'm actually seeing if I can cut off Veigar and making sure that we can get some wards here so that our team does not get collapsed on. As a result, I kind of walk into Janet. Doesn't matter, though. I don't know why I have this charged up. I think I thought there was someone coming. So I'm actually recalling here. I wanted my team to back out, so that's what I'm pinging here. And the reason is well, they're all up. You guys are low, and you're alone. Don't stay out there. As you see, though, Lulu gets taken down, but Caitlyn is able to escape. So, not that big of a deal, but that is a definite misplay. The question at this point of the game is, we are 26 minutes in. What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to take Baron? Are you trying to take a tower? Are you trying to take Dragon? Are you trying to ward? Are you trying to catch the enemy out? There's a lot of things that you could want to be doing, but the real question is, are you going to be able to accomplish it? If you're trying to catch an enemy out and you find an enemy, are you going to be able to kill them, or are they going to kill you? If you're trying to ward, are you going to be able to ward? Is that ward going to do anything for you, or is it going to cause you to get caught and killed, right? So those are things that you generally have to ask yourself, and any question I could ask in terms of their positioning, in terms of like, okay, what am I trying to do? Am I baroning? Am I fighting? Am I et cetera, et cetera? No matter what question you would be asking, there is not a good reason to be there. And that's why I say, well, you don't have any business being there, right? You need to be doing something else. You need to be elsewhere on the map, even if it's just going back to base and healing or buying or doing something, right? There's nothing to say that you have to be out on the map constantly trying to kill people if that's not what's going to work out for your team. So at this point, I do pick up my Void Staff, as I believe it's 1435, I want to say. Yeah, something like that. So I have my Death Cap, I have my Morellonomicon, I have my Distortion Boot Enchanted Source Boots. Sorry, Distortion Enchanted Source Boots, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I have my Void Staff, and I still have a Doran's Ring. So I got tons of AP, I got tons of Magic Pen, I got tons of cooldown reduction. I am ready to fight here. Now, a lot of damage going down onto Shen, but Shen is super tanky. So at that point, it's only a J4 Blitz and Caitlyn ult. Those are relatively low cooldowns, but are they really worth using to get one tank to 50% health? Especially if you're now going to try and ping for Baron. Trying to ping for Baron right after you've used ults is not a good decision. Now, I do get caught out by the Veigar stun, but it does not matter as Blitz was able to zone for me, thankfully. I believe we get this Baron. It should be relatively safe. Yeah, Vayne just showed herself bot lane, so that's a free Baron. That being said, though, you always want to think, what is my next play? You want to think a play or two ahead, and you need to play towards those goals. Using summoner skills, using ults, taking a lot of damage, wasting a lot of mana, anything along those lines. If you're doing it right before you're trying to set up an objective, that makes that objective call much, much riskier. So actually do clear that out. I'm greedy, I like farm. That hook just barely misses. I'm trying to come in, see if I can do anything here. He gets taken down. I hit with a Q, and Lulu picks it up very, very quickly. I might have wanted to skip the farm, but honestly, I care more about the farm than killing the Vayne. Meh. Alright, so they're pushing in mid here. About 900 gold. I believe I want to finish up my Hourglass next, so I'll probably go for an Arm Guard. As you can see, though, we just got collapsed on. They did crazy amounts of damage. I believe I also get caught here, which is not something that should be happening. Yeah, Caitlyn had some positioning issues there. Thankfully, we did get a ward there. Warding over your walls when you're pushed in like that, you have to. If Igar had a ward inside the wall, he could just like flash over a Q or DFG Q alt or something along those lines and instantly kill me. Now, we are not wanting this fight. I don't know why I followed this up. Caitlyn's not here, right? It's great that you're landing all these skills, but it's also super risky how we're doing this fight. Wasn't able to quite connect on that. Land my stun over onto Warwick, land the slow. Caitlyn ult goes through, my Q connects right at the same time as he uses his ult. Very flashy, but as much as I would like to take credit for that, well, it was kind of luck. It looks nice though, and that's what matters. So at this point, they have an open inhib bot lane. That should be what's being focused. I'm only pushing in mid lane because I can do so in like half a second. Like it's super, super quick for me to do. Blitz is very low, so he needs to be staying max range and saving everything. He really just wants to hook if the enemy team's running towards us. I am able to pop the Banshee's Veil on Janna, so that's awesome for us. But here, you're walking towards a tower that has like 2 minions protecting it. I'm caught inside the base. Shen's rushing towards us. Like, we need to back out right now. And I believe we try and do so. So, I'm pretty low on mana. Oh god, here comes the Warwick. I use my stun. I also flashed there, I think. That was weird. I should have just ghosted if I needed to reposition. Alright, so I need to go all the way back to base. I need to buy, and I need mana. The rest of the team needs to do the same, because if we are split, we are going to get caught, and we are dead. Alright, so I end up picking up my arm guard. I also upgrade to that. My only reason for upgrading to the yellow trinket rather than something more useful, such as blue orb for sniping with my ult, or going with a sweeping, which is very, very strong, especially versus a Vayne like that. The only reason I'm going this is because I need permanent map vision. I need wards everywhere. And it's not that Blitz is warding poorly, it's that he's the only one warding. So if I swap out for sweeping lens, I'm not going to be able to really assist with vision anymore this game. Alright, so I failed everything there in terms of my stun. Try and launch my ult across and only hit one, but I get the kill, and that's what matters. And some good damage onto them. And just how he was positioning there, it lines up everything for me very easily. Get a lot of kills. I have a lot of minions pushing in our top lane, but it doesn't matter. We need to push in mid right now. We need to do so as 5. I know I keep saying that, but if we split up, then we're really weak, right? So we need to stick together, and we need to push this in as a team. Oh god, I don't know what happened that I would stop. I think there was something happening where, like, the stream was breaking. Yeah. Okay, I'll take any blame for what happens the next 30 seconds, because I should not have been stopping there. Worth mentioning that people who have Home Guard and Chance, you cancel the Home Guard and Chance by hitting them at all. Oh god, so many pings going down. We got the free Baron there. So we need to get a ward on Baron, and we need to back out, right? We need to get ward on Baron in their jungle. Alright, so we get a free kill over onto Janna there. Because we got the free kill over onto Janna, we can try and push in this top. I'm a little out of position. I should be behind my team here rather than beside them. I do not have flash to try and reposition, so that's my bad. Now Veigar is trying to come around. I need to get a ward in the jungle there. It looks like we're getting that vision regardless. I pick up blue buff for myself so we can keep this siege going. Alright, nice quick kill over onto Veigar. Clearing out some minions, we get the free tower. So, again, we keep making free picks for ourselves. Very nice blitz grabs, very nice J4 combos, combined in with Caitlyn's damage, my damage, Lulu's damage. It's working out quite nicely. As you can see, I'm just trying to poke any way I can. I am a little bit out of position, though. I got a lot of damage onto Vayne. She did not tumble forward, though, which I thought she was going to do. As a result, I was not able to pick her off. I looked away for a second and tried to snipe for her. And if I remember correctly... No, I don't remember correctly. Yeah, it was just... We split up. I was trying to peel for my team. Did not work at all, obviously. Alright, so I'm just chain slowing and stunning here. Janna flashes forward. I stun Warwick again. I don't want him to get onto me. I really, really want to live here. Got the slow, got the stun. This Janna is so thirsty. Oh my god. Alright, so now that I see that Warwick's turned around, I stun QW and pick up a kill over onto Janna. I hated that Janna so much. It was like, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. I just want to live. Alright, so I do finish my hourglass thanks to that. And I buy another elixir. In terms of final item, I should probably be working towards a Banshee's Veil. Banshee's Veil would have been a great 6th item. I don't know if I even try and build a 6th item this game or not, but it definitely would have been a good option. The reason I called for Baron here is because their mid inhib is down for a very short amount of time, and their bot is slightly pushed in. So we have a little bit of extra vision here. So we can push this in quite quickly, and then we can rotate and clean up the mid and bot inhibs and end the game using that Baron advantage. We don't have a reason to go top after this. I don't know if I call for top or someone else does, but yeah. We should be going back mid and bot, as there's an open inhib bot, and mid inhib is respawning soon, so we can just clear it back out. Alright, so we opt to go top lane. I think, based on positioning, it looks like I sort of wasn't noticing what was going on during the game. But yeah, looking back on it, we should have been pushing in bot and mid. Alright, so let the Twin Shadows charge run into the Lulu Banshee's Veil. I don't really want to get slowed here. Alright, so we land that onto Shen. Shen actually taunts back away from our team. I tried to Q, did not connect. Again, I don't like my positioning here. This is where I would position if I was playing Lux. Not necessarily the right position for Xerath. I see that he's so low and I was just like, oh god, I want it so badly. And in the meantime though, I just ignored our team fight. Not what we want to have happen. And as you can see, he can just flash one-shot me. So that's my own fault. I positioned poorly. My complaint though is that no one went onto the Veigar. They're all going on to other things. Caitlyn could have just auto-attack netted and probably killed him just off that. She's got a lot of damage. This fight could have gone so much better, but I will take a large amount of the blame because I spent so much of my time trying to keep Veigar from joining the fight that I didn't help win the actual team fight that was happening. Making a fight 4v4 is not generally worthwhile. Now, they're going to rush up our mid lane here, and this is going to be difficult to try and stall. So, I was a little bit cocky there. I was saying, oh, I was doing so well, you should have just waited 30 seconds. I was poking them away, and a little bit of patience might have worked better there. But that doesn't excuse my own mistake, right? I should have been helping my team. So here, I cannot afford to die. My team's just respawning. That's why I'm not going in immediately. I need him to initiate with me. I get the kill immediately, launch my W, launch my stun, Q in again, and then ult directly across both, pick up the triple, and then we should be able to clean up the game here. Now, I actually do go bot lane, and that's not the correct decision. Blitz already had it with his ult. The only reason I was clearing that out was because I wanted to make sure that I could try and stall any recall from Janna. Not that it would have mattered, but I had in my mind that I needed to stop recalls, and that's why I was sort of sweeping through the side jungle. Not necessarily the best decision though. So I drop my ward and just try and rush up mid with the rest of them. So Xerath lands a knock up over onto Warwick. Lulu's in there trying to put out as much damage as she can. There's the ult. And now that Blitz is there, they should be able to pick up the kill very quickly. Okay, so picking up the inhib, and we can rush right onto the Nexus as we already did destroy both towers earlier. Now, we get to see yet another time I failed to use my Hourglass because I tried to use it right there, but I was in the middle of my queue, could not do so, and I die like a scrub. Regardless though, that was a really, really good game in terms of back and forth, outplay potential, and a lot of good mistakes that everyone can learn from. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that video, and I will try and do some more in the future. If you guys have champions that you would like to see videos made for, or that you would like to see more of on stream, definitely let us know in the comments below, and we'll try and use them in future commentaries. Until then, have an awesome day.